Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. WildMax1 here bringing another Raid Shadow Legends video with another champion guide today. And if you clicked on the video, you already know who it's about. One of the absolute best champions in the game, free legendary, one of the best legendaries, arguably better than most mythicals as well. I'm talking, of course, about Marius the Gallant. Now the journey to get him is not that easy, but the rewards are well worth it. Today we'll be going over his skills, I'll show you how to build this guy, and finally we'll be doing an arena and Chimera Showcase. So let's get into it. So Marius was released in March of 2024 as a follow-on champion to Arbiter. As soon as you finish your Arbiter progress missions for Marius and Ramantu will pop up simultaneously. I highly recommend that you invest all of your resources into getting this horse before the Lizard. He is so good. He is the best, in my opinion, best free champ you can get, better than Lydia, better than Mithril, better than Arbiter. He is so good. He has a kit that is built for arena and PvE content. He has enemy max HP scaling hits, 3 of them on an AoE. If you thought Newt was good, wait till you try this guy out. He's got a turn reset to get his skills back faster. He's got an amazing passive. He's got incredible stats. He's got a really amazing debuff on his A1 for arena. He's just so good. And with that, let's take a look at his skills. On his A1, Auric Lance attacks all enemies, has a 35 booking up to 50% chance of placing an enfeeble debuff for 1 turn. So not only is this an AoE hit, but he has a 50% chance of enfeebling the enemy. If you don't know what that is everything. Anybody under enfeeble can only land weak hits. That means if you place this on a debuffer, they can't land debuffs. If you land it on one of their nukers, all their crit damage becomes irrelevant because they didn't crit. This is such a good ability for both PvP especially, but also in wave-based content in PvE. On his A2, Death or Glory attacks all enemies 3 times. Each hit decreases the duration of all enemy buffs by 1 turn. This is on a 4-turn, booking down a 3-turn cooldown. This is effectively a buff strip. Most buffs in the game only go up for 2 turns. If you have lasting gifts, it'll be 3. This hits 3 times, reduces by a turn each, so you can effectively think of this as a buff strip. For arena, incredibly powerful. You're taking off the shields, the strengthens, even Stone Skin, it's got a shot, coin flip each time, but still, of stripping Stone Skin. So powerful right there on a 3-turn cooldown, and here's what really makes it relevant for both PvP and PvE. It's the fact that the damage is based on defense and enemy max HP. So if you're talking about boss fights, he is absolutely smacking. Hydra, any clan boss, any dungeon boss, he is smacking him. Then you bring him into arena, and he's got high defense, good crit damage, and he's smacking there. This truly is, in my opinion, the best damage dealing ability in the game, by far. On his A3, Galloping Thunder. Places a 50% increased accuracy, 60% increased defense buff on all allies for 3 turns. Then stuns the enemy with the highest turn meter for a turn. This is on a 6-turn, booking down to a 4-turn cooldown, but there's more because it resets and gives him an extra turn after buffing himself and his entire team and stunning the highest turn meter enemy. So effectively, this goes down to a 3-turn cooldown because you're getting that extra turn. What an amazing ability, right? You're getting, not only is this coming back faster, but you're getting that incredible A2 coming back faster. This is so strong. These are all the buffs that he needs. Increased defense to be hitting really hard and to become a little more tanky and harder to kill. He is, after all, a defense-based champ. Increase accuracy. So he has enough accuracy to land that strip enemy buffs, which does require accuracy in order to land that reduced duration. This gives him everything he needs in one skill to buff himself up. You don't need to bring an increased accuracy buffer or anybody that increases his defense. He's got everything covered. Everything's done. And he's already providing disruption for the enemy team by stunning their highest turn meter champion. What an absolutely ridiculous kit. So powerful. And finally, to round it all out, let's take a look at his passive, Steadfast Knight. This champion is immune to turn meter reduction effects from enemies or decreased speed debuffs. If an enemy changes form, we'll talk about that in a second, or attempts to decrease this champion's turn meter, counterattacks using this champion's default skill which as we know is very powerful AoE and can place an enfeeble debuff. Okay, this is what makes him, his A1 through A3 already make him really good in PvP and especially PvE content, but this is what really takes him over the top in PvP and Arena right now. He is immune to turn meter pushback and decreased speed debuff. So there's no way to slow this guy's turn down unless you actually stun him or provide some kind of a hard crowd control debuff like a sleep or a stun or a petrification or something like that. If somebody even tries to push back his turn meter, and there's a lot of champions out there that have abilities that place some kind of debuff or steal some kind of a debuff and then push back your turn meter. I'm talking about your warlords, your Armandses, right? So if Armands for some reason doesn't land his stun on him, warlord locks out his skills but tries to push back his turn meter, Marius will counterattack. Marius does hit hard enough if built right where that can completely destroy the enemy team. Getting counterattacks from a Marius is one of the fastest ways to lose in Arena if your team's eating those repeatedly. On top of everything else, we know right now is a mythical meta in Arena. The tippy top, all players at the pinnacle are all using mythicals. There's still a lot of legendaries that are relevant, but mythicals for the most part dominate some of those best teams. He is a nightmare for mythical teams for this part of his passive alone. Whenever an enemy changes form, that means whenever a mythical transforms in order to use part of their kit, he is hitting them with that really hard-hitting A1, potentially enfeebling them. So powerful in today's meta. Unbelievable. For his aura, we have increased allied defense in all battles by 35%. Very good. Total stats, we're looking at just under 20k HP. For a defense-based damage dealer, that's very good. His attack is irrelevant on this champ. Over 1,500 defense, so good. His speed for a damage dealer is incredible at 110. That's right up there with Elva, Marichka, so good. So when you're going to be building this guy, you're going to make sure to get him at 100% crit rate. You're going to be building him with good defense and crit damage. You're going to want to make sure to have enough accuracy on him to make sure that you can still land this decreased duration of enemy buff strip. Although keep in mind that that means because he already brings himself an increased accuracy buff, you won't need as much accuracy as with some other damage dealer or champ that doesn't bring that. So that's nice for building him. Now let's take a look at how I have mine built. So there's pretty much two ways you can go with your Marius. I know some players are only using him for PvE purposes and others are using it for both PvE and PvP. For me, I'm using him for both without a doubt. And as I say frequently in my champion guides, I built him for Arena and he succeeds everywhere else. So for me, I decided to go with a typical lethal stone skin setup as you do with most champions or damage dealers you're going to be bringing into Arena. You want to make sure to have that stone skin so that you can avoid things like turn meter pushback, which in this case is irrelevant, but getting hard crowd controlled is a problem. You want to make sure you're taking your turns, you're making sure that you're doing damage, and then obviously enemy ignore percent defense is going to make sure I hit as hard as possible. There are other options, however, and I actually do have an accessory piece on here from the other relevant set, and that is, of course, Slayer. Marius is one of, if not the best user of Slayer in the entire game. Slayer is an incredibly powerful damage-dealing set specifically designed for AoE champions. As we know from just checking out his skills, Marius only uses AoE skills, his A1, his A2. So here we have the three things that make Slayer so good for him are: one, fills this champion's turn meter by 5% per hit on each enemy from the AoE attacks. That applies in Hydra, that applies in Arena. It's incredibly good, and you sometimes even, once you see the rest of this, of the bonuses, you don't even realize how good this is because it sometimes gets overshadowed. The other one is ignores 30% of enemy defense with AoE skills, but he only uses AoE, so this is just effectively 30% ignored enemy defense, which is better than the 25 you'd get from a Savage or Lethal. And finally, the 9-piece is 30% extra chance to deal additional AoE damage based on damage dealt by AoE skills. So another damage proc on top of all of the damage that he's already doing. So with that, I'll say that 9-piece Slayer is objectively the best strictly damage set on Marius, but for the sake of getting him in 1-turn Stone Skin for Arena and the safety that that brings, I would say that the best for Arena is going to be either 4-piece Ignore Enemy Defense, we'll call it, which can either be Savage, Instinct, or Lethal, and then 4-piece Stone Skin. And then for PvE or any kind of other non-arena content, Slayer. So those are going to be your two best options. You can obviously mix and match it a little bit. I know one player that likes to bring 6-piece Slayer and 3 reaction accessories into Arena. I think that that is fine. It could set you up for getting hard crown controlled, though. I also know a player that, you can also just use 6-piece Slayer. It doesn't have to necessarily just be 9-piece Slayer for your PvE content. It's all up to you at that point. He's going to be good no matter what, as long as you put him in some ignore % defense gear, and then make sure that you support him with either the right team built around him or with some Stone Skin gear in Arena. Now let's take a look at my individual pieces. For my ring, it's defense with defense rolls on the substats. We have crit damage with crit damage ascension on my amulet, accuracy with defense on my banner, but this could easily be defense if you have enough accuracy from your gear. For my gloves, I have crit damage, crit damage. For my chest, I have defense percentage. And for my boots, I have speed with speed. I'm still waiting to re-roll this accuracy into defense % for my chest, but it's fine as it is. For my tonal stats, we're looking at 51k HP around, 5.8k defense, 274 speed, crit capped, 267 crit damage, and 380 accuracy. I run him in for my ELO in Live Arena, which is around 6,500-ish rating for all PvE content, and this is serving me very well. He is performing excellent with this. I'm obviously missing some key ascensions here on his awakening level. I'm missing the defense from the 3rd star, crit damage from the 4th, and then the accuracy from the 5th. So as I am currently doing, and it's all luck dependent, I fully realize that, but when you get your Marius, or if you currently have your Marius and he's not fully ascended, I recommend you save all of your Eternal and Immortal Soul Essences to try to get him awakened. He is absolutely worth it. This build would be looking so much nicer if I was sitting at 6.5k and then over 300k on my crit damage and then about 450 on my accuracy. That would be really, really solid. And in that case, I could probably even drop some accuracy and beef up his defense even more. Because remember, we do have that self-increase accuracy buff on him. When it comes to relics on Marius, he is easily deserving of the best relics that you have on your account. This is my strongest relic with my strongest gemstones that I have. These are all arena based here, but you can tweak those to be, if you're only doing, PvE content with him, you can obviously change that up to be like the dungeon boss gemstone here or whatever. It just depends on how you really want to tweak him for your content. So Cat's Gaze, I think, is universally going to be good on him. He's not a high HP champ, even though he has high base HP. You don't build any on him. So Cat's Gaze, you're going to be getting that ignore % defense in Arena, should be where it matters, at least with those high HP supports, and then also for bosses and PvE content. If you don't have the Cat's Gaze, you can obviously just go with something more budget like a Malefic Talon if you don't have any of those available. Also, if you are strictly bringing him to Arena and you want to make sure that he's not getting sheeped, especially with the polymorph meta, Wand of Submission is a great relic to be putting on him as well if you really don't care about that ignore % defense, or if he's already doing a lot of damage for you and you don't really need to worry about that. If you're wondering what other kind of relics are going to be good on him, if you happen to craft a ton of mythical relics here, Stormcaller is another really good option on him. Even though it's got attack on it, the effect and the crit damage and speed are both going to be really good. Gore Crescent can also be really good, again, ignoring the attack stat. They really should make these, I believe, adaptive. So either go for attack, HP, or defense based on the type of the damage dealer. I think that would make a lot of these relics make more sense. But anyway, getting back to it. So again, if you really want to focus on him in arena, I think Gore Crescent would make a lot of sense, given that sometimes in a wave of his A3, he can sometimes kill a champ within 1 or 2 hits. And on that third hit, this would proc and then really do a lot of damage, 20% extra damage on that last one to potentially knock out the rest of the team. Really solid option for that. Stormcaller, this, all good. Again, as I mentioned earlier, Malefic Talon, really good. But again, Cat's Gaze, I really do think if you're if you are building him for both PvE and PvE content, this is probably going to give you the best bang for your buck. For blessings on Marius, you got quite a few options to work with, and especially depending on whether you're going to be focusing more on arena or on PvE content. For arena specifically, I think Soul Reap is a really good option if you don't have that 6-star Awakened Marius. Soul Reap is going to give you just that little bit of extra execute threshold that can help kill an enemy champion. Marius's A3 does do great damage, but sometimes they are left with just that sliver of HP. This just makes sure that they go down from that. If you have him built in, you can also decide to go polymorph. He does build some accuracy on his kit. This could be relevant. If you're going strictly PvE and you don't care about arena at all, you can even put Brimstone on him if you want. But if you do have him fully awakened, I think pretty much the best option for Marius is almost always going to be Crushing Rend. Getting that ignore percent defense on every single hit is going to be so devastating in PvE and PvP. It really helps you because you can really change how you build and how you end up gearing out your Marius. But I think that this is probably what I'm going to go for once I get him 6-star ascended. And finally, for Masteries. Let me move myself here so you guys can see this. So there's a couple ways that you can end up building it, but you do pretty much always want to be going Helm Smasher on him. Getting, again, more ignore percent defense makes him hit harder in arena, gets him to that cap for damage in PvE faster. It's just such a good tier 6 mastery for him specifically. Again, because I am using mine in arena, I did decide to go for Whirlwind of Death, giving him a little bit more speed for each champ that he kills. Methodical is going to be really good in arena as well, because the more often that he procs it and uses it, the more damage it's going to deal. And they do start to add up the more times that he ends up using it. So even though he does get his A2 back pretty fast, Methodical is excellent there. And then for my support tree, I decided to go down and pick up Master Hexer and Sniper. Now, this may seem a little silly, but changing his enfeeble chance on his A1 from 50% to 55% and getting a chance to have it go from just a 1-turn debuff to a 2-turn debuff has, without a doubt, won me arena matches all on its own. It is such a devastating effect that if they don't have a way to immediately get rid of it, or if he happens to go right before their enemy damage dealer and they get sat with an enfeeble, that pretty much sometimes is enough to decide the match right there and then. If, however, you already have enough accuracy and you don't care as much about buffing up that enfeeble, you can just come down over here towards the defense tree, and then you can come down and pick up Defiant, Improved Parry, Bloodthirst, come down for Delayed Death, and then Retribution and Deterrence, just for more chances to proc that A1. So the first place that I wanted to showcase Marius today is going to be just in Classic Arena. Now, I put together a team with all free champs. Every one of these you can earn on your account, and we're just going to roll with it and show you how powerful Marius really is. He is, again, he is, for a lot of comps, the only damage dealer you're ever really going to need on them. He is so strong. He can take down a team behind Stone Skin if you get lucky with the rolls. All he really needs is a little bit of support just to make sure he doesn't get crowd controlled and make sure that he survives long enough to get to his A2. After an A2, a team that survives an A2 by Marius is usually going to look like it's pretty much in shambles. Any team that you're facing that has to take one of those, they're going to, unless they're sitting under some protected buffs with extremely tanky champions, Marius is pretty much always going to be, like right here, you see my team, 2 of them are already down, but Marius goes, and then their team is pretty much just gone. If I had a slightly higher awakening, my Slayer would proc on that as well and just have taken out the Arbiter along with the rest of the team. It's incredibly satisfying to be doing any kind of content with Marius. He is just, it really just feels like just a shower of damage, and then the team is just gone. Like right here, I chose this one. Hopefully they do have some champs under Stone Skin, so we'll see here now. Marius try to strip that using his A2. There he goes. He managed to strip it on the Mort, and he's gone now. And then it's just a matter of time now before the UDK gets killed as well. In arena, truly, Marius for live arena matches has become my #1 pick over. I do have some really strong mythicals on this account. He is still my #1 pick on, despite all of that, just because of the amount of damage he does and how much other players in arena have to respect what Marius can do. I mean, you see there, anytime he A3s, he's stunning somebody. Anytime he A2s, their team is just getting unrecoverable damage. He's just so incredibly powerful. And in live arena, you better have a way that you're going to deal with him. So you have to almost hope that you win the speed race, or that you have some way to kill him, maybe with a really fast champ that can go through that can go through Stone Skin, like a Mezamel or an Onryo or something like that. If you don't have one of those champs and you don't have a way to deal with them, then Marius is just going to absolutely cook your entire team. Next place I wanted to show Marius is in a dungeon. And even though I personally have stopped running Minotaur's Labyrinth until they hopefully add a super raid for it, but just to show you what this guy can do, you can run him with your 4 chosen champs for whatever it is that you want to get your masteries for. And this is just a solo Marius run of Minotaur's Labyrinth 15. So there he goes. First wave is gone. He's going to reset. That was his A1 killing everybody. And here you go. Just quickly going through. And there was a 13-second run, my best ever run on Marius. So 13-second Minotaur's Labyrinth runs with Marius. Just another thing that you can do to really get the most out of this champ on your account. Next, we're going to be showing Marius in Chimera. So this is obviously the newest clan boss. Everybody's still trying to figure out and perfect their teams. I've been also messing around with it, using a ninja team some weeks, using a just plain Marius team, using a Marius Newt team. In this case, I think Marius pairs well with Newt because of Newt's passive for his A3, where he reduces a boss's defense. When it comes to Chimera, there's them being enemy max HP champs, damage dealers. There's only certain ways that you can increase the damage. Not everything's going to work on this boss, right? So there you saw about 1.5 million total from Marius's A2, and we're going to watch as this ramps a little bit because of Newt's passive that helps him with that here in a minute. So this comp is basically there's again 1.5. So this comp is basically built around Elva being my healer and reviver. She pretty much takes care of it on her own. Lydia's just there to add some of her really useful debuffs for trials, and then also to keep the decreased defense and weaken up on the bosses, which do help them hit their highest enemy max HP numbers. Fadey's there to add some buffs and a reset, and then Newt and Marius are there pretty much just to pummel this Chimera. So the things that don't work to increase Marius and Newt's damage here, unfortunately, are, all right, there you saw closer to 2 million right there. That was like 2.1 million on his A3, so going up a little bit there in damage. I've seen some people's Marius has hit hard enough to just hit for almost 5 million from one A2. Unfortunately, mine's not built quite that way. I think I would need a Slayer set and much higher crit damage than mine currently has. But for what he's doing, I'm very happy with it. But anyway, so as I was saying, protection buffs don't really help for your protection buffs don't really help for enemy max HP damage dealers. Feral doesn't really help in this case. You really just need it's like the weaken, ignore defense, crit damage buffs. Obviously, increased defense helps. There you go. So almost 900k for those hits. And that's essentially what this comp's built around. So, yeah, Elva's just keeping everybody alive, and the other two are just, doing my damage for me. This is not the most optimal one for, in this case, all the trials. There's definitely better teams. This one's really just meant to get me that top chest and complete maybe 4 or 5 trials, depending on the week. But again, very solid damage. Ram form, I obviously turn off the A2 on Marius and the A3 on Newt. Even with doing that, there's a risk that Marius can kill himself. So you just have to be careful with this. This is not the most ideal setup, but again, he does do excellent damage, as you saw before. Every A2 can be, up to 3 million damage with this guy towards the end of the run. So as we saw, that team pretty auto-friendly in terms of just getting the requisite damage for that top chest every week, right? Like I didn't really have to do anything except set to make sure that Marius and Newt didn't knock themselves out during the Ram form, which can easily be done during the team setup. But if you're going to be really trying to maximize trials and pick up all these components for crafting, then it's most likely that you're going to have to manual your Chimera runs. But if all you're looking for is that top chest, a team like this is going to do great. Either way, no matter what team, Marius can easily slot into a lot of them. He has a lot of things going for him in Chimera, obviously a lot of damage. He also has the A3 that can strip buffs, so if the Viper form happens to pick up and steal the buffs off your team, he can try to knock them off. Then in the Lion form, if he gets Hunter's Gaze, because the A3 makes him take effectively 2 turns in a row, he can almost self-cleanse for some of them. Really, really great champ, no matter what comp. And for example, if you want a team that can look similar to this, but potentially accomplish more trials, you can try something like the one above here. So you would replace Fady, you'd have that be Lydia. So it'd be Elva, Lydia, Marius, and then get rid of Newt there and have Ninja and Mikage. So obviously Marius, Mikage, Ninja, and Lydia far more accessible. Elva, obviously someone you might have to pull, but this is a really solid team, can do, I think, up to 8 or 9 different trials, depending on the week. Clearly manual, and probably not for this specific affinity run for the ultimate form. So there you have it, everybody. Marius the Gallant, one of the best, if not the best champions in the game. Truly an amazing champion. As soon as you pick him up, he's going to immediately change your account. He's going to immediately slot in on so many different teams. If you're interested in more of a showcase of him, potentially in Hydra or Live Arena, let me know down in the comments below. If this guide was helpful to you, please like and subscribe, and also let me know in the comments down below any other champions you guys would like to see in a guide. Thank you for watching the video today. Thank you for your time. Have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one.